Okay, this is the parent meeting for the incoming fifth graders at Polk Elementary for Cougar Crew tryouts. All right, so if you want to go ahead and open your guideline book to the first page, this is pretty general information. We're just talking about tryouts in particular. So the way we're going to be running the tryouts is each elementary school will have their own tryout. It's just going to be a 2-hour tryout. We aren't wanting to make it as formal as the older girl tryouts because we just really want them to get the experience of what a tryout is like and things like that. They'll spend the first hour and a half learning a short routine, probably a shortened version of what the older girls will be learning. And then the last 30 minutes, 45 minutes will be them actually performing the tryouts. They're going to be performing in groups. They won't ever have to do the tryout by themselves because they won't ever be dancing by yourself. So we don't want to make you try out by yourselves. So y'all's will be Thursday, the week after spring break. If there is a scheduling conflict, you can always join another school's tryouts. It's not like, set in stone. If you're at Polk, you have to be at Polk. If you've got something going on that evening, you can join Madge or Aug's tryouts. We do ask that for tryouts, they just wear athletic clothes and some type of tennis shoes, something they can move in. So preferably not any jeans, some type of t-shirt and some type of athletic shoes so that they can not be hindered by their clothes. Also, hair needs to be pulled back and no jewelry. As long as it can go back, we got to have it pulled back. You're going to be given a number at tryouts so that you're trying out by number, not by name. The judges for this tryout will be myself and my captain and co-captain. For incoming fifth graders, the tryouts, we're not trying to make this a very exclusive group. We really want anyone that wants to be a part of it to be a part of it. I don't foresee there being anybody turned down as long as we have good grades, no behavior issues, good attendance, and things like that. Those are the main things we're looking for. If you have dancing ability, that's an awesome plus, but we really want just really great students representing CLUT in a positive manner. Tryouts in the bottom down there in the black, it's saying that they are closed, no parents are allowed in tryouts, and we will not be videotaping anything at tryouts. Also, if your student has a cell phone, they'll have to be turned off during tryouts. They can turn it back on at the end so they can contact you guys if they need to. All right, if you want to flip to the next page, that's just the calendar. It's just kind of giving you a visual of when everything is going to be taking place. So the week before spring break will be the tryouts for the current students, current 5th, 6th, and 7th graders at CLUT. And then that Friday before spring break is when your paperwork will be due, which is the back half of this packet. We'll get to that in a little bit. Then we'll have spring break off, and then the elementary tryouts will begin after that. Like I said, y'all, is on Thursday, the 17th. The information, whether you make the team or not, will be given in a letter to the school to be passed out right at the end of the day on Friday. Just if there are any instances where someone doesn't make the team, but like I said, I don't foresee that happening. It's at the end of the day before a weekend, so everyone can go home and, it's not right in the middle of school with all their friends around and everything like that. The Monday after tryouts, I want to have a big meeting with the whole team so that all the girls can meet each other and see who's going to be on their team, and we can go over things like camp and uniform fittings and other information at that time. Does anybody have any questions so far about dates or tryouts or anything along that nature? What we're going to be doing at tryouts or anything like that? No? Okay. All right, now to the not so fun part, the cost. So pretty much, I haven't even had my CLUT parent meeting. I've just been doing the elementary meetings, and the pretty general consensus is that this cost could keep people from participating. So today I have been thinking about taking some of the items out so that maybe we could get that cost a little bit lower. The reason it is so high is that this year, this was our first year as a dance team, and our uniforms were nice, but they could be nicer. And compared to other dance teams in the district, they were kind of a source of embarrassment sometimes for our girls, also compared to our cheerleaders. I know we had some issues with other students commenting on them, and I want the girls to be proud to be on our team and not be uncomfortable in what they're wearing or have any room for anyone to speak negatively about them. So I wanted to go with, you know, a typical dance drill team outfit. Some of the stuff on here, I'm probably going to end up eliminating because, like I said, I don't want anyone to not join because of the price. We will be doing fundraising, as much fundraising as we possibly can. I'm going to try to come up with ways for you guys to fundraise because you won't be on campus with us. So you can't do bake sales and stuff like that at Clute, but that may be something we can run by the principals, see how that works here. I am planning on doing a t-shirt sale. You know, you will design t-shirts and you sell to friends and family members and community members and things like that. I'm also hoping to do some type of getting some community involvement, fundraising as far as donations go from companies and things like that. If any of you have experience fundraising and or know anyone that'd be willing to donate, you know, I'm always open for that kind of information because the cheaper we can get it, obviously, the better. But like I said, I will most likely be going through and eliminating some of these. When I get an updated price list, I will send to the principal to send out to everybody. Camp is $200. That will not be changed. The thing with camp is this year we didn't have camp. So we lost out on the team building, team bonding aspect of camp, but also during camp is when they learn all their dances. So this year they learned their dances from me. I would go home, teach myself a dance for a week, and then the next couple of weeks spend teaching them, and then go home and teach myself a dance. And as a first year teacher, that got pretty intense. So I like the idea of them getting to have camp, not only for the team building aspect of it, but also they will learn all their dances for the whole year at camp. It's two dances a day for 4 days. So they'll have 8 dances right there in the summer. They're ready to go for the whole school year, which also helps with practice, eliminating the amount of practices we have to have if they already know all of their dances right there at the beginning of the year. I don't have a set date on that, but I'm planning for it to be end of July, middle to end of July. Just because school starts around end of August, we go back 2 weeks before that, but I would like it to be as close to the beginning of school as possible so that they, you know, still remember it. You know, if we do camp in June, they may have a whole summer and not really remember the steps. Yeah. It'll be at Clute. We don't want to do a, it's more expensive to go away because you have to pay for travel and those kinds of things. Plus that can be pretty intimidating. And for our group that this is going to be their second year, many of these girls first year involved in anything like this, a big camp, we just thought it'd be better to do a home camp where they get real individualized instruction. Does anybody else have any questions about pricing, camp, anything along those lines? Like I said, I'm hoping within the next week to send out an updated list because I don't want the price to keep anyone from participating. Okay, so the next page for you guys should be the judges ballot. This is just an example. You don't have to turn this in or anything. It's just to show you guys what they're going to be judged on. I do accidentally have in their facial expression and eye contact twice, so please excuse that. But they'll be judged on their entrance, their spirit as in enthusiasm as they enter, facial expression, eye contact, their unity of movement with the squad. This is really big to me because if you have, even if maybe you don't know the moves super well, if you're performing with the squad, you don't stand out as much. Whereas if you have one girl who's 5 counts off, everyone ends up zoning in on her and forgetting about the rest of the dancing because she's standing out so much. So we'll be looking at unity of movement, timing and rhythm, knowledge and confidence. That is also probably the biggest thing is, and I've tried to explain this to my girls this year, if you aren't an expert at the dance, or maybe the dance moves are just too advanced for you, if you are confident in what you're doing out there, it shows way more than your dancing ability. Because I have girls now who maybe aren't the best dancers, but they get out there and they're smiling, they're enthusiastic, and they really look like they're enjoying themselves. And that shows much more than the girl who may know every single move, but doesn't really look like she wants to be there. And the whole purpose of this dance team is, you know, a spirit squad to pump up the school, pep rallies, games, get people excited. So, you know, we want our girls excited and enthusiastic so they can spread that to the school. Does anybody have any questions about the judges ballot? Okay. The next page also is an example page. You do not have to turn this in. This is what I will have for each girl. I'll have this list. Each girl will be on here. This will be totaling up their grades, conduct, discipline, and attendance. So this end total points they get plus their actual tryout points is how we'll determine who is on the team and who's not on the team. Obviously, it tells you in the bottom, it's kind of a breakdown of how many points you'll receive for each one. We want all passing grades, all S and E's on conducts, no discipline referrals, and as little attendance, as little absence as possible. Again, if you have more absences and you make up in the other areas, it won't be that big of a deal. Does anybody have any questions about this right now? No? No? Okay. Okay, this next section is what you will be turning in. It says required forms at the beginning. These are this is the packet, the forms that'll be due on March 4th at 3. You'll turn them in here and I will come by and pick them up. Again, that's the Friday before spring break. As you can tell, we have a few weeks before we get to that. I wanted to have these parent meetings early and as far enough in advance so you really had time to go home and really talk with your student and your family and make sure this is something you're ready to commit to. Because of that price, I don't want it to just be kind of, oh yeah, I want to do this, and then you have all these other commitments you have to go to, and then it's money down the drain. That's a significant financial commitment, so I want everyone to be sure that this is really something they want to do. Okay, so the next page is just the data sheet. That's the first form you'll fill in or turn into me. It's just pretty significant, pretty normal information, date of birth, address, things like that, contact information. It says, do you have any other after-school commitments? If yes, please list them. Again, please be open and honest with me about this. If you're involved in 5 other things, I want to know that ahead of time. You know what I mean? So that when it comes time to practice and stuff, I can be aware, okay, she's not going to be here because she's got all these other things going on. The next sheet is disclaimers. The first one is just saying that you have read and understand all the tryout rules and criteria and you agree to them. The next one is that you acknowledge you're not allowed in the building during tryouts. Insurance is just acknowledging that your child is not covered by insurance. And then the last one is acknowledging that your child may be photographed or videotaped and that it's okay with you or not okay with you, whichever you choose to sign. The next page is the Cougar Crew agreement form. This is just saying that you've gone over these guidelines, you've gone over the Constitution, you and your student are aware of what's expected, the rules, the regulations, things like that, and that you agree to them. So it'll be a parent signature and a student signature. And then the last page and last form will be your medical authorization. So the first one is just letting me know if your student is physically capable of doing this. Dancing is an exercise and we'll be dancing quite a bit, especially during football season. There will be a lot of practices, competition season, there will be a lot of dancing. So we just want to make sure this is something they're physically healthy and capable of doing. The next one is giving permission for the school and its employees to take necessary action in the event of emergency and you're not there. The next one is allowing me to give your daughter or your child Advil, Tylenol, any general over-the-counter stuff. So like a few weeks ago, we performed at the Rockets halftime show. We got there at like 9:30 and left at 9:30 in the evening. So, all day you get a headache, your stomach hurts, something like that. We want to be able to have this on file saying, okay, I can't give you Advil, instead of trying to hurry up and contact parents and things like that. I already have it here knowing I can give that kind of medicine to your child. Obviously, we would notify you if we did, but this way we have it on file first. And then the last one is just making sure we can give your kids, spray them with mosquito spray. Football games, we're going to be out there for a long period of time. There's 2 games a night, so it's several hours spent outside, and we definitely want to keep them safe from mosquitoes and the diseases that they may carry. So that's pretty much it for this packet. Again, the Constitution, I'm going to leave for you guys to go home and go over together because I don't want to take up too much of your time. Does anybody, before we go on to demerit system, does anybody have any questions over what we talked about in the guidelines? Yeah.
The uniforms and stuff, will there be anything that can carry over from year to year?
Thank you.
So that the
Yes.
Not, $1,000.
Yes.
My
yes, my plan is if it looks good, if it still fits them, and for new kids we can still get the same uniform, yes, because I do not want parents to have to pay this over and over again. So as long as we have access to that uniform for any new girls coming in, I'm 100% with that okay with that carrying over. We also have talked about when they get to 8th grade, selling it back to younger girls if someone needs it, if it's still in good condition and it's someone, it's the right size and everything like that. So yes, definitely. Yes. Okay. So right now I haven't set due dates. I got to come up with a payment plan option first because I want that to be available to people because almost $1,000 at one time is, yeah. So yeah, exactly. Payment. We're going to be having a payment plan option. I'm planning for it all to be due by June, early June, mid-June. I have to make sure that is okay for camp and things like that. I have to see. From what I understand at camp, again, this is my first year doing camp. You don't have to pay for it until after camp. And camp will be in July. So I'm pretty sure we'll be okay stretching the payments out until June.
Is it a local person that's coming in to do your camp? Or
it'll be varsity. Varsity it'll be NDA, National Dance Association. So like NCA is the cheer association. We'll be bringing an NDA person in. I'm hoping to do a free clinic with 2 girls that were belles. They went to Clute and they spoke with one of the teachers there and said they'd be willing to do some type of clinic or camp over the summer. So just to add that in so we have 2 goals for this Cougar Crew dance team. The first one is to just bring more excitement and buy-in for kids at Clute, bring something exciting for them to really look forward to, but also to get more representation of Clute kids at Brazoswood because there's very few. Yeah. Lake Jackson and then Clute. Yeah. Well, we want to change that. So we're hoping that by having girls in dance 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, when they get to high school, if dance is something they want to do, they're more prepared and we can get bigger representation at Brazoswood. With that being said, we typically do hip hop type dances just because that's mainly what kids this age are interested in watching at pep rallies and football games and stuff like that. They want to hear music they listen to on the radio and see dances they see on YouTube and things like that. So we try to incorporate a lot of that. Bells is completely different. It's very technical, leaps and turns and things like that. I don't ask that of my girls at this stage, but that's why I would like to do the clinic with these girls who are ex-bells so that they can teach them the turns and the leaps and things like that they know. So to prepare them for bells if that's the route they want to go. Thank you for bringing up both of those things. I appreciate that. Does anybody have any other questions before we go on to demerits? Okay, so this is the sheet we're going to be looking at, this little individual sheet. Does everybody have a copy of this? So this year was our first year. It was a trial year, kind of realized what we needed to fix and what worked really well for us. One thing that I realized pretty quickly on that we needed to fix is we needed to have some type of rule system in place. So we came up with a demerit system. This is like consequences for you girls who may not know what demerits are. This sets expectations and rules in place so that they know very clearly what is expected of them and what will happen if they do not meet those expectations. So I don't want to read through this entire thing with you because, again, that's going to take up more of your time and I don't want to take up too much of it. But I do want to point out the bold letters right there in the middle. So the penalties of the demerit system, if you get 5 demerits, you are suspended from the squad for 2 weeks and your parent is notified. If you get 10 demerits, you're suspended for 4 weeks and notification to parents that you're in jeopardy of dismissal. And then at 15 demerits with administration review and coach review, we can dismiss you from the team. However, if you look down at number 9, demerits can be worked off. So it's not like if you get a demerit for maybe being late or being absent without letting me know, it's not stuck with you forever. They can work them off in 3 different ways. One of them is at the end of the reporting period, every class that they have an A in, they'll get a half a credit back. Any service to the team to be determined by me, they can get some credit back. And if they would like to run 2 laps, they can get a half a demerit credit back. So they're not stuck with the demerits. They are able to redeem or get rid of the demerits if they are willing to do so. So then the next list just tells you what will get you 1 demerit, the backs get what will receive 2 demerits, and then what will receive 5 demerits. Again, I don't want to read into that so much. That's something you guys can go over, but I do want to say the tardiness, that's been a pretty significant issue this year. Not even that the girls arrived late, but that they were on campus doing other things and they just kind of strolled into practice about 6 minutes, 7 minutes after practice has already started, and then they missed warm up and stretching and things like that. So that is one thing I really kind of a stickler about, is making sure we're starting practice on time. We don't want to waste anybody's time. I don't want to make parents have to stay longer waiting to pick them up. With that being said, practice this year, there was no really set schedule because we were working around girls being involved in all kinds of different activities, basketball, volleyball, things like that. We had some weekend practices. We had some weeks where we only practiced once, some weeks where we practiced 3 times a week. Next year, we will have a dance class for Cougar Crew girls specifically. So I don't imagine there being a lot of practices after school, which is great because I know the girls have other activities. There'll be sports options for them, schoolwork, family life, things like that. So I don't want to take up too much afternoon time. So we will be having practice, their dance class will be spent practicing. But with camp, they will have learned all their dances, so it's not like they're going to be learning a whole lot of new dances until competition time comes, and then we'll probably choreograph 1 dance and perform that at all our competitions.
So will that be like their PE credit, or will that be an elective?
So that's what we have been trying to decide, because it's still not even officially approved by administration. We're going to have it, but it hasn't been decided if it's going to be PE or fine arts or elective. Most likely it will be a PE credit. Most likely it will be a PE credit for them.
Okay.
Yes. And that was another thing with camp and with the class, mainly with camp. The idea of camp and them getting to bond for 4 days before school starts, especially at this age, is going to be really helpful for them to go into school saying, well, I know this 6th grader and I know this 7th and I know this 8th grader, and having that sense of belonging already before school starts, because moving to a new school can be very intimidating. Moving to a new school with 8th graders and 7th graders on it, I know, can be pretty intimidating as well. So the camp idea, I'm really looking forward to that, and that team bonding, team building before school even gets started. Does anybody have any questions about anything we've talked about, demerit systems, anything like that? Really with the demerits, as far as one parent brought up yesterday, as far as absences go, communication is key with me. If your child leaves school early or doesn't come to school because they're sick, I'm going to have a text messaging system to just shoot me a text, hey, she's stayed home because she's sick today. That way I know well in advance why they're not at practice, and not wondering, because I've had girls this year not come to practice and then 2 days later stroll by, oh, by the way, I was sick. And then I'm like, but were you really sick, or did you just not want to come to practice? So as long as anyone, parents or the child's communicating with me as far in advance as they know, hey, I'm going out of town this week, we're leaving Friday, I can't be at practice. That's all I ask, is just communication, and that way we don't have to run into getting 5 demerits because we've been absent from practice. Does anybody have any questions? I'm trying to think of things that we've talked about at the other parent meetings. I think we've pretty much covered everything. Like I said, you've got plenty of time to make a decision if this is something right for you and your student and your family. It is going to be a pretty significant time commitment, and it will be a pretty significant financial commitment. I'm hoping to get it down from that almost $1,000, but it's not going to be coming down too terribly much. It'll probably be more like $600 or $700. So I want your girls and the parents to feel really comfortable before they make that kind of financial commitment. Anybody? Yes.
As like if I have any parents come up tomorrow that want more information and I give them a packet, do they need to come meet with you or?
Well, that's why we have the live stream.
Okay.
That they can, it's live streaming now. So like I had one parent call me and she's supposed to be watching this at work right now.
Okay.
But it'll also, when I stop it, it'll be on the website, Clute's website, for you to go back and watch it anytime. So you can either give them that information or my contact information, either way. But yes, I will leave extra packets for you to pass out. I don't, you know, I prefer parents to be here, but with this live streaming, that really helps. They get to hear the questions and hear everything that is maybe not talked about in the paperwork. Anybody else? No? All right. Well, if you do have any questions that come up later, my name's Lainey Smirchik. My contact information is on Clute's website. Feel free, email me, call me anytime. I'll be here. I'm really looking forward. This is really exciting for us because 5th and 6th grade usually don't get a whole lot of opportunities to do things. And this year we've really expanded that with sports and the dance and things like that. So I'm really, really excited about having a big school-wide dance team, and I think it's going to be really neat this year. I'm really excited. Looking forward to it. All right. Y'all are free to go. Thank y'all very much. Oh, yeah. Yes.
Like, is there a captain and co-captain, or is it just?
Yes. Okay, so, well, let me keep that on here. Okay, so right now we had captains that captain, co-captain, and lieutenant. Our plan for next year is our 7th and 8th graders, when they try out, they'll be trying out for an officer position. So 5th and 6th grade will be our dancers, 7th and 8th will be officer positions, and as they move up, they have the opportunity to become. Yes. All right, thank y'all very much. Y'all have a good afternoon.